The Mekong is the longest river in Southeast Asia and the 12th largest in the world. With 4,800 kilometers, it originates from the Tibetan Plateau and flows down through 6 countries: China, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. This is considered as the lifeblood of Southeast Asia when about 70 million people's lives in 5 countries, including Vietnam, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar, relied on the river. The Greater Mekong Subregion, or GMS for short, covers 2 more provinces of China, Yunnan and Guangxi. However, since these 2 provinces are not part of the Mekong River Commission's collaborative water management has encountered many difficulties in the absence of sufficiently enforceable laws and regulations which can bind the responsibility of all parties. Located downstream of the river, Vietnam has always been negatively impacted by the activities of the upstream countries. For example, with the Mekong's hydroelectric potential up to nearly 60,000 MW, a series of large dams have been built upstream that renders water downstream, affecting the livelihoods of tens of millions of people. Therefore, effective cooperation in the management of water resources in the GMS is an urgent need to ensure sustainable development that benefits the regional people. This is also the focus of the International Conference on Cross-Border Cooperation in Water Resources Management in Greater Mekong Subregion, co-organized recently by Hanoi University of Social Sciences and Humanities and Konrad Adenauer Stiftung Institute from Germany. Hello, you're watching Sharing Vietnam. In the new context of economic development and climate change, the water resource management in Greater Mekong Subregions is facing new challenges. So, what are the solutions and how to boost cross-border cooperation? Today, we'll have a talk with Professor Dr. Detlef Pearson from Gießen University in Germany about this topic. Hello, thank you for joining our show today. So, how is the reality of water resource in the Greater Mekong Subregion?
The reality is changing at the moment. We can say that there was a traditional way of simply letting the river flow, and now we see a lot of human interference into the natural flow of the river. So the reality is pretty changing at the moment, and we see that there are some countries which contribute more to the changes than others do. And the reality, so to say, is that we will see big challenges, big changes.
And in the new context, do you think what are the challenges facing water resource security in the region?
Oh, there are a lot of challenges. One challenge simply is the flow of water. Another challenge is the impact of global warming, the rising seawater levels, and more challenges of course are population growth, deforestation, industrialization, and pollution.
And how about the situation in Vietnam in particular, according to you?
In Vietnam, there are 2 challenges. Challenge 1 is the river, and the second challenge is the rise of the seawater levels. Yeah? So these are 2 components which bring a rather complicated situation. Yeah, Vietnam is especially vulnerable to change because Vietnam is the last country in line. It only shares the last segment of the Mekong River, that is the Mekong River Delta. And Vietnam is suffering from what is done upstreams from all other countries, including China, Thailand, Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia.
And what do you expect from the International Conference on Cross-Border Cooperation on Water Resource Management in the Greater Mekong Subregion?
What can we expect from a small conference with some international guests and many participants from Vietnam? We can sit together and talk, and we can try to convince people in charge to develop ideas in a direction say that more people can benefit from the development, from the common development of the region, and not from competition on the resources of the region.
Actually, I've got quite good news now for
In the Conference on International Cooperation in Water Management in Greater Mekong Sub-region, experts analyzed and clarified the opportunities and challenges in the management and security of regional water resources in order to make policy recommendations that increase effectiveness of multilateral cooperation in the region.
So the challenges that we are facing in the Mekong region is the lack of harmonization between national interests and regional interests, and the lack of policy coordination and the enhancement of synergy between and among regional mechanisms. So how can we build synergies between all these mechanisms and to generate greater impacts and efficiency is a matter of urgency and necessity.
In recent years, floods have occurred on a large scale, causing severe consequences in Vietnam, Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia. This is the effect of climate change in general, but also comes from the problem of management and use of Mekong water. Therefore, the upstream and downstream countries involved in the cooperation frameworks in the management and use of Mekong water resources is a very important issue.
Tôi nghĩ là sự đồng thuận là quan trọng nhất. Sự đồng thuận ở đây chỉ trước hết là 5 cái nước mà có dòng sông Mekong chảy qua. 5 nước này phải gọi là hợp tác với nhau chặt chẽ hơn. Vì cái lợi ích của khu vực, không nên đặt cái lợi ích của quốc gia mình cao hơn cái lợi ích của khu vực. Thứ hai, tôi nghĩ là ASEAN với tư cách là tổ chức khu vực thì cũng phải quan tâm vấn đề Mekong giống như là vấn đề của gọi là tranh chấp ở Biển Đông, đúng không? Bởi vì đó không phải chỉ có một vài thành viên mà đó là của cả khu vực.
Experts agree that only binding cooperative mechanisms which help to rationalize the distribution of benefits between upstream and downstream countries, water security and stability in the Mekong basins is assured.
So some of the solutions that I and others proposed this morning is to strengthen the regional institution, especially the Mekong River Commission, how to reform the Mekong River Commission in a way that it can effectively manage the Mekong River. It's more binding in a way that enforce the members country of the Mekong River Commission to comply with the rules and regulations, and then the prospect of managing the river and to reduce the conflict and differences will be better.
And according to you, what are the key contributors to secure water resource in the region?
I think all neighbors here in the region have to collaborate to keep the Mekong River and its environment a good one, and all have to peacefully collaborate in terms of the better development of the entire region in the sense of sustainability and resilience. And this is a collaborative issue, not only by the governments, but also by the people, also by the business people, and also by many organizations which are involved into that issue.
And how about the role of international institutions?
This is a complicated issue. I think what we need indeed here in the region is regional collaboration. We don't need the big international organizations. And as I come from Europe, in Europe we have a wonderful experience in regional collaboration among borders. I do come from Germany. And so from the German side, for a very long time, we have been collaborating successfully with our neighboring countries in terms of environmental management, environmental protection, the common development of the economy. And I won't say that's a model for Southeast Asia, but I would say that could be given something like we have some ideas which we can bring to Vietnam and other countries of Southeast Asia in that matter. So actually I'm based at my university at Gießen. I come to Vietnam normally for half a year per year. I did that already now for 6 years. Next year, most likely, I will be back in March. And I think that then we are going to work more on issues like regional collaboration in water management.
And may you show some lessons learned from other regions in the world that Vietnam can adapt in our situation?
I think there is a good example, and that's the River Rhine Commission in Europe. And in that commission, I think 5 countries are involved. So it's Switzerland, France, Germany, Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Netherlands, if I'm right at the moment, yeah? And they had a great success, or they are having a great success since the 1970s, because they were able to make the River Rhine a clean water again. So it's a clean stream again, yeah? The river was heavily polluted in the 1970s, and then as an international effort, or as an effort of regional collaboration, the countries managed to restore the natural ecology of the river. They used a mechanism with many different stakeholders, so not only the governments, but also the different municipalities involved, also the different German states, the districts involved, also the different stakeholders involved, also the local population involved. Yeah? And that could be something like an idea for Mekong River collaboration. If you take a country like Germany, for example, we have regional conferences, and in that system there are different stakeholders from the government, from the administration, stakeholders from organizations, and stakeholders from business as well. And they develop and they understand that they have common interests, that they don't have different interests. Yeah? It's not like that the business people have different interests, they have the same interests. Yeah? They have the same interests as the government has, they have the same interests as the population has, at least if you look at a problem in a longer perspective. Yeah? And this is something that could be developed here in the region very well. Business people can learn that they should not look at short-term benefits, short-term profits, but at long-term profits. Yeah? Because then they can survive with their business by far longer as if they only look for, say, 1 year or 2 years. Huh? So private investment, of course, is important, but we should also think in terms of public-private partnerships or the inclusion of business into long-term development projects for, say, for example, water management.
And do you have any suggestion for cross-border cooperation to effectively manage and secure water resource in the greater Mekong sub-region?
So people simply have to meet on a cross-border level, interact, talk, and then they find they have common problems. Their problems are not different. It's just like if you go to Europe, maybe you take the example of German-Dutch border collaboration. Yeah? Sometimes today these are not tense relations between Germany and Holland anymore, but sometimes we have a rather funny competition. But if you go to the border regions, yeah, so the relations between the Germans and the Dutch are very well. It's a very good relation. So because they have learned to collaborate with each other, no? And if we develop mechanisms like that, people say from Cambodia and Vietnam collaborate on certain issues which are in their both interest, I think this is a good start for, a real good start for the development of water management in Southeast Asia in general and in the Mekong River Delta in particular. I think that for the better of the region, the best thing is that the local stakeholders, the regional stakeholders, the national stakeholders collaborate.
So how is international institution from Germany supporting Vietnam in water resource management, especially in the greater Mekong sub-region?
It is that maybe you know that the German side for a very long time is supporting different projects on water management in Vietnam, but that's not done by my organization but by GIZ. So GIZ has some 100 projects here in Vietnam, and some of them deal with water management, with coastal protection, with forest protection, with reforestation and so on. So that's a German contribution to the problem of water management in Vietnam.
Once again, thanks for your time and sharing with us.
Thank you so much.
And that's all for Sharing Vietnam today. Thank you for watching. See you next time.